Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Toss the Rock podcast. Here again, Steven, Chris, and Kevin. Um, and before we get started, I just want to apologize again. This is the second episode in a row. I'm apologizing for not uploading, but leading up to winter break, we just got a boatload of schoolwork and other priorities coming up. So we had to handle those before we can handle this. But we're on break now, so we're going to crank out a bunch of episodes for all you guys. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And before we get started with this episode again, I just want to give shout outs to Instagram page. Be sure to go follow that at Toss the Rock Podcast, all one word at Toss the Rock Podcast on Instagram. We're going to start uploading clips there along with our YouTube channel in case you're not listening on YouTube at Toss the Rock Podcast on YouTube. Go subscribe. Going to be uploading clips along with full episodes. And if you're listening on YouTube, then check out our Spotify again, Toss the Rock Podcast, everything at Toss the Rock Podcast. Be sure to follow us and stay tuned for more uploads. But today we have a long overdue episode. We intended to upload this like a week ago, but like I said before, things just came up. We're doing off-season like review, I guess, for the NBA, going over some of the big moves, giving our thoughts on them. So not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Chris, what you got for the first one?
All right, so first of all, we're going to be talking about the Celtics here, obviously our favorite team. What a better way to start with that. So, Kevin, I'm going to kick this to you. What do you think about the moves that were made in this offseason by the Celtics?
I think we did a pretty good job. There's obviously a lot of talk with Hayward and maybe getting something for him in a sign and trade. Didn't end up happening. No Miles Turner or anything like that. But I think people overhyped him. And I'm almost just as glad getting Tristan Thompson. And Jeff Teague seems to be a solid player. And I think he'll really help off the bench too. So I think those are two good additions. And I will mention, very nice to hear that Tatum will be here for the long haul. Love to see it.
Yes.
100%.
Very much. But hold on. I think we actually did not do nearly as good as we should have. I think Ainge sort of kind of fumbled the bag. We had to go to plan B, I think, rather than plan A. Jeff Teague is a great signing. I actually really like that signing. But with the Pacers, bro, Miles Turner fits our system so perfectly. Like, he's Al Horford, just better. And Al Horford fit really well because Turner's that, 7 foot, because we need height, three-point shooter, and he's clamps on defense, a really good rim protector. He would have fit perfectly with the Celtics. But then Ainge gets greedy and he starts asking for Oladipo and TJ Warren. It's like, it's unrealistic just to give up Hayward for those guys. And then not only then we barely get anything back for Hayward. We get a trade exception, which is not bad, but it's like we could have had Miles Turner.
I think you're one of the people who are overhyping.
How would I overhype him? I mean, he fits perfectly.
Right.
But I think Tristan Thompson is just a dog. You know, we need dogs
I know,
out there like stuff. I'm just excited to see him play. I think he can give some other bigs some struggles down low, grab some boards. He doesn't need to do much for us. We don't need our centers taking shots, so I think he fits perfect.
No, Turner would have developed so well with these guys, though. He would fit perfectly because he could stretch the floor. It's like Tatum and Brown, they're slashers, and like now we don't have Tristan clogging up the paint. I mean, look, I'm not mad at getting Tristan Thompson, but I think we could have done so much better with Miles Turner.
I mean, I saw, obviously, with the preseason going on right now, preseason games, I saw Teague was hitting a few shots in there, getting some shots. And so it does look like he's going to make a solid fit with that, which looks good from that perspective. So I think obviously that was a great part of that. But like you said, I mean, there's definitely improvements that could have been made there, chances that could have been taken, especially with Miles Turner. So
yeah, and let alone it's like, okay, we didn't get Miles Turner. We could have got Christian Wood, and Christian Wood is the beast, bro. When we saw Andre Drummond get traded in the second half of the season last year, Christian Wood was an animal. He was averaging like 22 and 10 or something. He was playing amazing. Now the Rockets get to enjoy that, and then we're left with Tristan Thompson. I mean, It's not bad, but it's like, look at our centers. We have Tristan Thompson, who's what, like 6'11". Then we
Right.
have Tyson Robert Williams, who are 6'8". We just saw in a preseason game Embiid kill us because we have Robert Williams guarding him the whole game. It's like if we didn't have that, we would win that game, even with our star players playing like terrible.
Mhm.
We haven't seen Tristan Thompson guard him yet, though.
That's true, but I mean, I think we could have been so much better off.
A big body. He's bigger than what we have, so it's some
No,
improvement.
like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at Tristan Thompson. I'm just, we could have done better.
Exactly.
Well, we drafted Naismith, which I like it. I have sharpshooter, space on the floor. I mean, it's what we needed.
He moves well. He hustles. I've seen him like already crash the offensive glass, like after every shot. So he hustles.
Yeah, and he's a big dude.
Right.
He's 6'7". He's a big dude. Anything else with the Celtics?
Maybe we can mention Pritchard. Looked pretty good in that first
Yeah,
game.
he looked good. He looked fine, but
You just can tell he knows the game.
Yeah.
He's just a solid player.
Yeah.
Hopefully he develops well.
Well, I mean, he'll get to play with Kemba missing a couple of games, right?
Yeah, that is true.
We'll see if Naismith even starts because we couldn't play Smart at the 1. Who knows?
Yeah, we've been starting Javante Green. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Understand.
But I don't know. I feel like we could have done so much better this offseason. Like, even if we got the trade offer was getting McDermott and Miles Turner for Hayward, like, that's such a dub, dude. Like, McDermott is like he's a good shooter. Like, he's not bad at all. We're asking for Oladipo, and that's too much. And then Hayward letting him pretty much walk is, I don't know. But all right, I think we're good.
Transitioning on, speaking of Hayward going on along those lines, let's talk about the Hornets. Talk about the Hornets moves that were made in the offseason. I'm going to start this one off with you, Steven.
Okay.
What do you think about these moves that have been made by the Hornets?
LaMelo's the biggest dub you could have possibly taken in that draft, in my opinion. He's going to be a star in this league. Because there's just a thing with the Ball brothers, and I won't get into it too much, but when you have a Ball brother in your team, whether it's Lonzo or LaMelo, you have to entrust them in your offense. And I think the Hornets have the pieces around LaMelo to make him the key part of their offense, but he's not like the number one scorer guy. He's got to be the guy that controls the offense, and they have the key pieces to do that. And he could be really special in New Orleans if they play their cards right. And then Hayward going there, overpaid like crazy, but he's still going to be good on that team. He's not going to be bad. He's going to fit fine. He's just overpaid like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's that overpaid. I mean, 30 mil is a little much.
That's a lot.
But we just saw Paul
Yeah,
George.
Dude, but Paul George is like really good. Paul George had a bad year. He was
Paul George that though.
What'd you
He's
say?
making the most of the league now, pretty much.
Dude, but like the level between Paul George and Gordon Hayward is it's grown. Like it's not that. It's pretty big. That's what I'm trying to say.
Is it 18 million though?
I mean, I'd rather pay Paul George what he's getting paid than pay Hayward what he's getting paid.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Paul George, dude, don't forget, like, everyone forgets this. Paul George is 1 year removed from an MVP, top 3 MVP season. Like,
it is true.
He had a really bad shoulder injury and it messed him up.
Hopefully,
I don't know. He's playing on a new team.
I still don't know how he's going to do moving forward, though, 100%.
I think he'll be good this year. I think he'll be good.
Really?
I projected him to be an all-star.
Okay. I mean, I hope he is. I would love to see him play at a high caliber like that again, but
right.
We'll see.
I mean, seeing LaMelo's passing in those games, man, I'm telling you, it looks nice, bro. It looks really nice. Like, that's crisp, bro. So we'll see. We'll see how he's able to move that ball around. Like you're saying, controlling the offense. It looks really good, bro. Promising with LaMelo, for sure. And obviously with Hayward, I mean, I don't know, maybe a little bit overpaid. I don't know. Definitely, I feel like to some extent, at the least. But all right, let's transition on here. Let's talk about the Suns moves that were made in this offseason here. Whether
Paul
it's
trade
that were made. So, Kevin, you want to start off with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I like Chris Paul going there. I think he's a solid veteran. I mean, the Suns are pretty young still. I mean, with Booker, Aiden, and some other pieces around them. So I think he can be a real veteran presence there and just help bring everything together. And I think they'll be a lot better. See, I mean, in the bubble, the last 8 games or whatever, they were playing really good. So if they can carry that into the next season, they might actually be I don't want to say a contender, but they'll have a playoff presence.
No. All right. Yeah. So I projected them to be like an 8 seed. West is stacked this year. There's got a lot, there's a lot of teams that I have missing the playoffs that could easily make it. But I'd take the Suns over them. I think the Suns will make the playoffs. Chris Paul's a great addition to the team. He'll fit well. Like Ayton, let me go back. Chris Paul can play off the ball. We saw it with Harden. So I feel like we'll see something similar with Booker handling most of the scoring, and then Chris Paul will come in off the ball, provide great offense, like passing and even scoring. And then Ayton will benefit so much from Chris Paul going there. Like it's going to be huge for him. But I feel like Chris Paul's not meant to be in the long haul. He's meant to develop a guy like Ayton and help a guy like Booker learn to play off the ball for future additions to the team. But getting Chris Paul to a team that was the Suns does not make you a contender for the championship. It just doesn't. So I don't know. I just think they're trying to make the playoffs, I guess. They won't go anywhere in the playoffs. It's just really a developmental move, and it's not a bad one at all.
I mean, obviously the Booker's scoring alone, I mean, that's a threat in itself, I mean, so I think they'll obviously, like you said, they're going to have some competition, at least in terms of really trying to get to the playoffs, even with that. But obviously with CP3 being there now, I mean, hopefully we'll see how that plays out and being able to run the offense and help out off ball in terms of stuff like that and when Booker do the scoring. But in general, I feel like, that we'll see how that plays out, definitely. But transitioning on here, let's talk about the Lakers, who potentially actually maybe got more powerful after this. So, Steven, you wanna start off with this?
Yeah. Man, this sucks. It sucks, bro. The Lakers, they bring in Schroeder, who's Schroeder's a starter on most teams. He's only on a 6-man because he's got Chris Paul and Shai starting. That's just very annoying as a Celtics fan to see that happen. Along with Montrezl Harrell, who's reigning 6-man of the year. He's and then Marc Gasol too, who's like a solid big man. He's not like crazy anymore, but he is what he is. And now Wesley Matthews, a sharpshooter, to add to a team that was struggling with shooting. It just pisses me off.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, you got any thoughts specifically? Anything? But
yeah, I mean, they had a lot of signings, a lot more than I thought they would make. They did lose a couple pieces, not huge, like Howard and Danny Green.
Yeah, but it's like hold on. It's like they lose Howard and then they get Montrez and Gasol, and then they lose Danny Green. They get Wesley Matthews and Schroeder.
And getting better players back.
Yeah.
So just making them better, more powerful. Yeah. More disciplined. So
yeah.
Also be right up the West.
Yeah. Also, the Lakers inked Kuzma for 3 more years, $40 million a year. I mean,
and then I think
he has a player option on it.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think that's really. I might as well sign him, but.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Let's talk about the Wizards here. Kevin, you got any thoughts on the Wizards?
I mean, it's kind of interesting with Westbrook. I no clue that was going to happen. That was pretty weird. But yeah, I don't know. They don't have high expectations at all, really. I mean, but Beal and Westbrook, I mean, I guess it could potentially be a pretty good duo, along with their what's the rookie?
Denny Avdia.
Yeah.
And Rui Hatch and Thomas Bryant. I think Denny would be really
Yeah,
good
but,
in this league.
I mean, it makes them better, but I don't think it's like if they were to have John Wall, it's not that much of a difference, I guess. So
No, I think I think they definitely got better. Um,
Right.
I think Westbrook's
Yeah.
more like I just think he'll make that team better. I don't think the Wizards will be a playoff team, but if they keep the same team next year with the development of Denny and Rui getting another year in the league and Thomas Bryant, I think Thomas Bryant would really explode this year. I think they could potentially be a playoff team next year. But yeah, I think getting Westbrook's like that was good. Like why not?
Right.
I guess they had to give up what did they give up? I don't think they gave up a first and Wall, did they? They did, then it's like but
no, yeah, they did.
oh they did, then but they definitely got better as a team, I think.
Right. I mean, obviously that's going to take some time to develop, as you were saying, with those rookies and stuff. But obviously with that progression, I mean, obviously we know Westbrook's probably going to do his thing there. Expecting him to do that. So we'll see how that moves going forward. But so next team we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about the Heat. The Heat. What do you got any thoughts on the Heat, Stove?
Well, the Heat picked up what, Mo Harkless and Avery Bradley, right?
Mm.
Like that just adds two defenders to like a already really good defending team.
Exactly.
Just like think about it. Ready? You have their lineup and you have Kendrick Nunn and Goran Dragic. Okay, not the best defenders. Then you get Hero and Avery Bradley, so you get one scorer and then one defender. That's really good for their team. Then you get Mo Harkless and Duncan Robinson together. Like that's insane. And then now you have obviously Jimmy and Bam there, and they can hold their own for like they can play as much as two players. You know what I mean? Heat took a dub, but it's not like an insanely big dub.
Right.
But they definitely had a really good offseason for what they could do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Kevin, you got any thoughts in relation to the Heat? Anything big?
Similar. Just they obviously needed defense because I mean, just watching Robinson when he was out on the floor, like the other team would obviously attack him. So if you have other pieces around him, that should help. They did lose Jay Crowder, right? So
Yeah, the Suns got him. Good
he
pick up
played
for the
really well
Suns.
for them. Yeah, he played really well for them, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like you guys are saying, I mean, obviously they're already a pretty solid defensive team, so obviously seeing that improve even more. I mean, remember, I mean, they're obviously making the finals this past season, so
Yep.
they're definitely a threat, and adding only more defense to that, it's definitely worth mentioning to some extent.
Yeah.
Transitioning on here, let's talk about the Clippers and what the moves they made.
Clippers took a
So,
dub.
Kevin,
Yeah. Oh, Kevin.
to start, Kevin, on this one?
Yeah, I mean, they did lose Montrez, which is tough, sixth man of the year, but they got Serge and they also got Kennard. So you get more shooting. And I really like Serge as a player, just as a presence, down low, blocked shots. So I guess they're only taking dubs. Just makes them better. So yeah.
Yeah, dude. Clippers took a dub. Kennard is actually like Kennard. People don't know like Kennard is really good, but because Kennard's playing on the Pistons, so no one really watches the Pistons. But Kennard can play, and yeah, he'll be good for the Clippers. He's an upgrade over Shamet, who they lost. So, and then Serge, dude, Serge was killing us in that Raptors Celtics series in the bubble.
Oh,
He was destroying, like he was hitting everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's like he'll do great for the Clippers, and he's also taller and bigger than Montrez. But I mean, I'm not saying he's better than Montrez, but it's not that much worse.
Right, and then obviously with the signing of Paul George, we'll see how that plays out, as we already mentioned before. So, I mean, we'll see how that plays out too. I mean, I think it was Paul George that said he's back with his old trainer. I don't know if I saw that.
That's
He was
good.
with his MVP season. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
I don't know
zoning
how
in.
much of a significance that will hold, but I mean, like you said, I mean, hoping he does well, obviously, for the Clippers there.
Mhm.
But so now let's talk about the Rockets. The Rockets is an interesting situation with
Yes.
Harden, especially.
Big
So,
moves.
Steven, you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah,
Obviously.
so I think getting John Wall, like I think that Wall Westbrook trade, it's it's a win-win. I think they both won that deal. Rockets getting a pick in exchange for Westbrook, who was already tentative about staying. Like, he kind of wanted out anyways. So that's not bad. But it's like they had two decisions they could make. They could either get Wall and get a guy who's still pretty good and still kind of contend, or they could get like a rebuilding return. But I think they made a good choice in getting Wall because he looks really good in this preseason games. And then pairing Wall with Cousins, so they're just getting rid of the small ball. Pairing Wall with Cousins, I think that will be good. That Kentucky duo, they finally got it together. Cousin doesn't look bad. He doesn't look as bad as he did when he was on the Warriors, which is a good sign. Getting Christian Wood is huge. He is, like I already mentioned this, he's such a good player. He'll be really good for the Rockets, man. And then that just leaves Harden. It all rides on Harden. If he can get his stuff together and like start being consistent, like showing up on time to stuff and like being there for the team when the team needs him, then this team will be they'll be a playoff team. I don't think they'll make the Western Conference Finals, but they might. Who knows? But they'll be a good team nonetheless.
Kevin, anything to build on there? Anything in specific?
I think they definitely took a dub in the Westbrook trade because you got a Westbrook-esque player and got a first-round pick. So, I mean, basically exchanging and then you get a pick. So it's like,
well, Westbrook's better than Wall. Westbrook's better than Wall.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that Wall's better, but they're similar players.
No,
and
yeah,
they also
yeah.
got a first-round pick. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Harden right now, but I don't know. I almost thought that the Rockets at one point were gonna have to trade him or whatever. So
Still could.
Yeah, still could.
they still could, and that's why I thought they were trying to get picks, and like that's why they did the Westbrook trade. But yeah, still not sure. So, but they did make some pretty good moves, and I think if Harden sticks around, they'll be a good team. So
Yeah, and I'll say if the Rockets are to trade Harden, the best there. So I saw this Bleacher Report thing today, and it was like possible returns for Harden deals, and there was two like bad ones, like mediocres. Like, you're not doing that if you're the Rockets. But there was two that were actually pretty good, and one was the Warriors. It was like Harden for Oubre, Wiseman, and a couple picks. That's not the worst deal. But if I were the Rockets, I'm going after Ben Simmons. He could be so like, if you surround a team or if you build a team around Ben Simmons, he'll easily be a top like 8 player in the league. I don't know. He'll be so good. No, dude, you surround him with shooters. He'll be so good if you surround him with shooters. So if the Rockets are to trade Harden, trust me, get Ben Simmons. You won't regret it. And then Harden and Embiid, that would actually be an interesting fit. So I would like to see that trade happen.
Can you name the top 10 player in the league who can't hit a three?
Dude, okay, it doesn't matter. Like, no, but like that doesn't matter. Oh my!
Even Giannis can pull.
Dude, I say this all the time. I say this all the time when people mention Ben Simmons can't shoot. Yes, Ben Simmons can't shoot.
Saying, he can't be
Listen, no, Ben Simmons can't shoot, but he gets people who can shoot shots. You know what I mean? So like Sixers got Seth Curry and Danny Green. Simmons will get them so many shots.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. He's a great facilitator. He's going to get his assists. He's going to get his dunks. He's going to drive all day, but like not a top 10 player if you can't hit a jumper. It's just
I disagree. No, save it for when we talk about this different episode.
Well, I mean, one thing and one last thing I want to get in there, just make sure, like the fact that obviously with the Rockets having Cousins now, it's just it really does speak numbers though, obviously, because having the chance to have a player who's going to kind of eliminate that small ball like you were talking about, that was one of the main areas, where that was causing them kind of a struggle in a sorts. So having that, I feel like it definitely could improve them in a big way at least. I mean, obviously you want to focus on Wall, but that's definitely a big piece of that offseason for them too, definitely. So. So going on here, let's talk about the Thunder. I mean, obviously they got a lot of picks. That's the main thing you want to talk about here. But Kevin, you want to start us off on this one? Talking about OKC.
I mean, I think was pretty crazy just witnessing the Rockets getting like 30 picks in like no time.
Thunder.
Just
Thunder.
trading.
You mean.
What?
You said Rockets. Thunder.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Thunder. So, I mean, really just building for the future and hoping to develop their younger talent. So, Shy, obviously going to have a big breakout season this year. The expectations for them shouldn't be high. Just developing. That's really it.
Yeah. So I projected last year. I thought Shy was going to win Most Improved last year. I was wrong, but now I think he might win it this year. So, I don't know. I think Shy will break out. I love Shy. He's a great player. Um, but in terms of the Thunder, like I think last year was kind of an anomaly. Like they were really good, but there was no point in them being really good. Like that, you wouldn't stick with that team. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, trading or they lost Gallo, they lost Steven Adams, Chris Paul, and they just racked up picks, which is just like that's good. Like that's what you want to do in that team situation. And I saw when they traded Chris Paul, they got Kelly Oubre in return. I was actually really excited to watch Shy and Oubre play together, but they traded him again, and like I'm not mad at it. Like it was a good trade. It wasn't a bad trade at all. So Thunder took a dub for them to rebuild this year. I'm excited for what the future holds with them.
Yeah, obviously that's basically, as you guys said, that's basically the main thing with that. It's just developing, moving forward, building that squad. So that's basically how that will go for the Thunder moving forward in these the near future at least. So now next team, let's go into a bit in relation to their free agency or their off season. Let's talk about the Mavericks.
Yeah,
Steven, would you like to start us off with this one?
yeah. Josh Richardson's a big dub. I saw when that trade happened, a lot of people were like, "What are the Mavericks doing? They traded Seth Curry. Why would they do that?" Like, yeah, Seth Curry is money. He's knockdown shooter, but Josh Richardson's like he's a great 3-and-D player. And the Mavericks really struggled on defense because Luka's not guarding the best player. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not going to guard the best player. Jalen Brunson, Seth Curry aren't going to guard the best player. Josh Richardson will. So I think that was a really good pickup for them. We'll see what happens with Porzingis' injury. Hopefully, it returns not too long after the start of the season. But Mavericks will be a top 4 seed in the West. At least I projected them to be 4th. So let's go Mavericks.
Kev, anything you would like to add on top of that, based on what Stowe said? Or
Not really. Just not too many offseason moves. So
exactly.
I guess you can't really say they did much, but they're obviously a great team, and letting Luka develop a whole nother year is going to be scary this year. So
Yeah.
MVP did.
I think he will win MVP.
Yeah, about to say for Luka, that MVP is coming. That's on the way, 100%. So one of the last, at least bigger teams I want to hit on here is let's just talk about the Sixers. Kev, if you want to start us off with the off season the Sixers had, any thoughts you have on the signings or the deals, the trades, whatever?
Yeah. So obviously the Celtics played the Sixers preseason. Watched a little bit of that. I think the Sixers are they got a lot better. They got their shooters. They got some new shooters, and I think that really will work well. Like we were saying before, Ben Simmons, he'll get the assists. He'll dive them out there. So I think that only makes them better. And then we'll just see if Embiid, if he's gonna still like clog the paint for Simmons, or if he's gonna play more out perimeter and stuff. So hopefully that can actually no, not hopefully. I don't want to see them play well, but I guess just see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sixers. Oh, and we also forgot to mention this, but Horford on the Thunder, that was just taking on a salary dump. Horford sucks. Everyone knows it. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
But Sixers obviously took a dub getting rid of him because he only slowed them down. Let's be honest, they were just not good when he was on the floor. Keeping Tobias Harris stinks for them, I guess. But I mean, who's going to want to take on that contract? But Sixers, yeah, they took a dub with getting those shooters. And that's it. I mean, and I'll just say this: if the Sixers are going to trade anyone, in my opinion, trade Embiid. Trade Embiid. Don't trade Simmons. Embiid's always injured. He's inconsistent. That's just my idea. I could get into it all day, but yeah, Sixers did fine in the offseason. Dwight Howard was also Dwight Howard's an upgrade over Al Horford. I'll leave it at that.
Right, like as you were saying, Stowe, just putting some, essentially like weapons or players that can be used to the advantage of Ben Simmons being able to pass to them and stuff like that. I think that should all around make the Sixers better. But so basically here, I mean, that was essentially the major things in relation to the offseason. If you guys want anything else you guys want to bring up, any minor somewhat.
I'll say I guess I wasn't surprised, but I was kind of like, I guess it did happen. But Giannis re-signing to the Bucks, 5 years, supermax or whatever. I don't know. I thought he was gonna leave. I didn't think he would have signed it this early. He still could get traded. Who knows? But Bucks obviously took a big dub. And wait, let's talk about the Bucks for a second. They signed Drew Holiday. They unloaded everything for Drew Holiday. They overpaid for him. I'm sorry. Drew Holiday's really good, but they put a lot of their future into Drew Holiday, and that's not gonna make him it's not gonna make him from oh yeah, Bucks are number one seed, they could win the championship, to be oh yeah, Bucks are they are insanely good to win the championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think that was the greatest move. Do you guys have anything to say on that?
Nothing too much. Yeah, like you were saying, obviously, yeah, they probably maybe overdid that a little bit for Drew Holiday, but yeah, that was interesting to see Giannis go that early and sign that. I did think there was a lot of talk about that, and obviously a lot of teams would like to have Giannis. I mean, of course. So, yeah, but that's how that played out. Kev, you got anything about the offseason left you want to throw in there? Any thoughts?
I'll just mention about Giannis. I mean, it's always so interesting when big pieces move, and you just want to see how the league turns out, because a Giannis move changes the whole league. That's just what it is. Right. So I honestly was kind of rooting for that to happen, because I think he's kind of wasting away in Milwaukee. They're not going to win it all. They're a great team. They'll get their wins, but I just think they need more, and he needs to go somewhere else potentially.
Yeah, I agree, but it's look, and I'll say this again. I think Drew Holiday will have a great season playing on the Bucks. I just don't think he'll be the guy that puts them over the hump. Yeah, I don't think the Bucks will win it all this year. And they unloaded their future kind of into trading for Drew Holiday. They unloaded a couple of picks. I think a couple too many picks. And Chris Middleton, he's Chris Middleton. He realistically in today's league, he's probably a third option in the league. Just being honest. Or third option on the team is what I'm trying to say. And I'll just say one more thing. I think the Pelicans, I don't know what they're doing. Trading for Bledsoe, okay, that's one thing. You got a good trade from that. But then it's you drafted Kira Lewis. You have Lonzo, bro. And I said this earlier with the LaMelo, and I'll say it again with Lonzo. If you Lonzo and Zion could be insanely good for years if you entrust Lonzo with your offense. Let him be the guy that runs everything. Zion's your best player, run everything through Lonzo. And I think that would just be really good for them. But I don't get why they got those 2 point guards. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, you guys have any thoughts on that?
No, nothing much. I mean, that's just essentially the wrap up there, I think, in relation to the offseason, right? All the moves that were made. Nothing you'd like to add, Kev, at the end there? Any thoughts?
Check quick. Nothing too big, no.
Well, I guess we could say AD re-signed, right, with the Lakers.
Yep.
LeBron re-signed to the year Bronny gets drafted. That's
interesting.
That'd be interesting.
And then who was the other re-signing?
Kawhi might re-sign.
Is KCP back with the Lakers? Is that?
I don't know. He might be.
I think he is. And then
obviously
De'Aaron
Tatum. What
Fox.
didn't Mitchell sign? Or no, De'Aaron Fox signed, big deal. And they also got Tyrese Halliburton. That doesn't make sense to me. But
Right.
who else? Oh, there was someone else. Oh, Gobert just signed the biggest big man deal.
Oh,
He's probably overpaid, but what are you not going to pay him? Let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's it. If something happens with Harden, we'll be sure to talk about it. But otherwise, that's it. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube at Toss the Rock Podcast. Follow the Instagram at Toss the Rock Podcast. We're going to crank out a ton of episodes over this break, so be ready for it. All right. That's it. Peace.
All right. Peace, guys.
Yeah.